Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Rebellious D, and the king himself that has made his return, Double OT, Terrific Trav. How you fellas doing today?
I like where this is going. The king. Okay.
Hey, I mean, well,
King
Trav,
of pirates or
the king of that cold fruit.
the cold fruit.
Yeah, man. So we got a really awesome person joining us today. Voice actress Hannah Alyea. Hannah, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for joining us up here.
Hell
We really
yeah.
appreciate it. Like you said, oh, hell yeah.
That's
So,
it.
yeah, man, I'm really excited to get into today's interview. So everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, you hit that bell button, so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And D, like you say every time.
As always, other episodes of the podcast found in the description. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for watching and listening.
And Trav, your tip of the day.
Hey man, when you got a lot of stuff going on in the background, blur it out. I mean, it's that.
Hey,
that's-
blur it out.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But that sounds like great advice.
It is great
Solid.
advice.
It's
Hey,
solid.
that's why we needed Trav back. I mean, Connor did a good job when we had him up here giving some
You
advice.
mean, let's go!
Wesker. But yeah, Trav, it's good to have you back. So let's go ahead and get into today's interview. So, Hannah, the first question that I ask each and every guest up here is, what is your origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody who you are.
To put it very blatantly, I'm a failed adult.
Wait a minute.
That's how I like to put it. How I started, I have been doing theater since I was very little, and I'm 5'2", so like smaller than that. Ever since I was very little, when I found out that I couldn't be the crocodile hunter, I was like, fine, I guess I'll be an actress. So I've been doing theater and acting for most of my life. Once I graduated high school, it was like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do acting. I eventually got to do musical theater in college. But then I had the whole adult scare of like, oh my gosh, is this going to pay the bills? I'm pulling out loans. Oh no, this isn't going to pay the bills. So then I switched gears, and ended up actually studying Japanese. I transferred schools to the University of Minnesota in Twin Cities. Go Gophers. And graduated with an Asian Literatures and Language degree with an emphasis in Japan. And my goal was to be an international flight attendant. So that way, you know, I researched that it's easier to get hired if you know another language. And I was like, I want to learn Japanese. As a dyslexic individual who can't read English very well, I want to learn an Asian language. So that's what I ended up doing. And I did actually become a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant with Delta Airlines for a couple of years.
Nice.
But while I was working with them, I realized, okay, like I did the thing. I went out, I got an adult job. I'm making adult money, doing the thing. And it just still felt like there was something missing. And that's when I realized, like, okay, like I really miss acting. Like I really want to do this. And that's when I really realized I can't not do it. Like I tried to not do it and it didn't work so well. So here I am. I found voice acting and found that was actually exactly the kind of acting that I was like born to do. I'm not about these theater clicky scenes. And there have been so many wholesome voiceover people because it's not about the way you look. It's not about where you come from. It's all about what you can do and how you can be different characters. And I just think it's fantastic. So long story long, that is my origin story.
That's a pretty awesome
yeah.
origin
Like
story. And, you know, I love what you said about, you know, when it comes to voice acting, it's not really about appearances. It's about what you can do behind the microphone. And I feel like every voice actor that we've had come up here, like they've all been really nice and so wholesome. And then when you meet them at conventions, it's the same type of energy. And I really appreciate and love that because, you know, when it comes to voice acting or anything that you do in life, when you have fans of your work, you want those fans to be able to come and see you and feel like that it's like they're meeting Santa Claus. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's awesome. And I just wanted to, you know, give you a pinky for that because just from hearing your origin story, I already know that you're a wholesome and awesome person. And we're just at the start of the interview, so I can't wait to. I can't wait to get further into it. But I want to ask you because we had talked about this, too, before we started the interview about you going to Japan. Like, how was it like living over there? Like, what were some of the things that you enjoyed doing when you were over there?
First off, the food.
Of course.
I'm a foodie. I love the food there. I studied in Osaka. And that is like the food central place when you're in like Honshu, when you're in like the main island. So food was a big thing. But also just kind of experiencing the culture as a whole, especially right now with like anime becoming really big and most Americans kind of knowing a very basic culture of Japan. It was very different to actually be there and experience it and see things firsthand. I was able to learn some traditional Japanese dances. I learned how to wear a yukata and a kimono. I went to festivals and, first and foremost spoke Japanese with the people as well, which really gave a new perspective of like the whole Japanese culture. It wasn't me looking at something, it was me living in the experience. And I think it was a really eye-opening experience. I'm also someone, as I said earlier, I am dyslexic. We are double fueled, dyslexic and ADHD. Gotta love it. But when I was learning the language, it was very hard for me just to do it out of a book every day for like 50 minutes in class. So I knew that I had to go there to really experience it. And like, that was it. It was me going there, really experiencing that, made it click. Yeah. And really like humbled to be there, but also really thankful to be able to experience the culture the way that I did. I could, see some of the social rules that I really enjoyed, or see some of the social situations that I could see were problematic, and, those kinds of things as well. It was a very eye-opening experience. But I mean, if I had to pick one, or maybe two, it would be food and transportation. Those were my favorite things in Japan.
Okay. I love that. And, as somebody that likes to eat well, I feel like when I go to Japan finally, like that's what I'm going there for. I mean, I feel like when I go anywhere, like when I went to New York, when I went to Philadelphia, it's like I want to try the food. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I always tell everybody, if you're going to try food and you're going to eat a lot, just make sure that you walk everywhere. Like when me and my brother went to Las Vegas, I was just like, I don't want to get a rental car. I just want to walk everywhere because we're going to be eating a lot of food and we can't work out because you're there having a good time. So, yeah, I agree with you when it comes to being a foodie and whatnot. I love it. And now I want to pass the ball to D. Also, too, I forgot to mention as well, welcome to the glasses gang. We all got on glasses up here.
It's called not being able to afford contacts anymore and not being on health insurance.
We got the screen reflectors right
gotta
there.
pick. You gotta pick.
Yeah, I'm not wearing a ring light. Yeah, I don't have a ring light. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just have really bright light.
I just got to get them to line up with my pupils.
Yeah. Yeah, so Hannah, I have a very simple question, and I was just curious. I was thinking about it. We interview all these people. What was the first anime that you remember seeing?
I know which anime I first saw. At least one that I really got me into anime was Naruto.
Okay.
But the first anime that I probably was exposed to was Pokemon.
Hey.
Okay. Excluding Pokemon, what was next? Everybody saw Pokemon.
Oh yeah, it had to have been Naruto. It was one of those things where I got hooked my senior year of high school for my boyfriend at the time, and then we broke up, and I was like, "Well, screw you! I have Naruto anyways." And so I just binged Naruto. I watched it all, the regular. I watched Shippuden, but I gave up with Boruto. I was like,
good choice.
That was a lot.
Yeah, Boruto does a lot. Trav?
Yeah, I want to. Before we keep moving on, I got to go back to the transportation. I think those, what are they called? Bullet trains?
Bullet trains, yeah.
Shinkansen or bullet trains.
What a scary concept that is, like, on paper. You know what I mean?
To be fair,
like implemented real well.
To be fair, it's also a scary experience when you are on a train station that it goes through, where it doesn't stop. It certainly sounds like a bullet.
So, also too, I need to ask about these vending machines because I've always felt like, bro, Japan's just ahead of the game in the convenience stores, the vending machines. Like, how is this not a thing here in America? Where it just seems like they be getting cheeseburgers out the vending machine. Like, you can literally get anything out the vending machine.
That's true.
It's
true.
crazy, and they'll make like. I mean, you can make milkshakes here at like Wawa and stuff, but like they got stuff in the convenience store, like they making full on ramen.
Like at 7-Eleven over there.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like set up to do that stuff. What was like coming back though?
Yeah.
Like you come back to the States and now you don't have that access no more.
I mean, I guess funny enough, when I came back to the States, it wasn't the things that we were missing that I experienced. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like as time went on, I was like, man, I just want milk tea out of a vending machine.
Yeah.
I just want to go and just hit it and grab it and go. And here I have to like drive 25 miles to get to an Asian food store to get the milk tea that I really enjoy. But funny enough, the first thing I realized, like the reverse culture shock coming back home, is that it is a unspoken rule in Japan that you do not eat and walk at the same time. You like if you get something at the convenience store, like fried chicken or something like that you're going to eat, you can stand outside the store and eat it, but you do not walk and eat. It's just like, it's something you don't do. You don't eat on transportation. You stop, you eat, and throw it away, and then continue to move on. So the first thing I realized is the day after I got back home to the States, I went to go catch a bus to go somewhere, and I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with me because I didn't have much time. I hadn't gone grocery shopping yet, but that's what I had in the house. And I'm like, have my sandwich in hand, and I'm walking down the street. I was like, all right, I'm going to eat my sandwich at the bus stop. And then I just stopped and went, I can eat my sandwich on the way to the bus stop.
Oh man,
birds with one stone right there.
Yeah,
exactly. So really it was the reverse thing that got me. But nowadays, as I am acclimated back to the United States, that's when I really miss the conveniences. Like when I see a 7-Eleven, instead of it being a safe haven, I'm like, maybe I'll go to somewhere else during the day as a woman in the United States.
Yeah. We don't stand outside 7-Eleven.
No, not for me anyways. Or, again, wanting a vending machine at every single corner would be amazing. Or funny enough, the fact that a lot of their culture is cash culture, I actually kind of really liked that. Right. And it's not here. It's a lot easier to budget when you have to spend cash than just kind of waving your card around going, it's fine, I'll buy this and I'll buy that.
Easily you can spend more than what you wanted to.
Yeah,
but that's capitalism at its finest. That's why we do things
anybody's grandma
like that.
used to do like the envelope things where they would put money in envelopes for different things and be like, all right, this is how much money I got.
I don't remember that, Trav.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that, but I never got allowances.
It's old school.
Yeah, it's old school stuff.
It's a technique. I forgot what it's called, but you cash your paycheck and you put cash in envelopes based on stuff, and that's how you budget your money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, something I wanted to piggyback off of about Japan where you couldn't walk and eat. I saw a video where they said at the gyms over there, you're not allowed to take drinks inside of the gym. Like you have to drink your drink before you go inside, and that's it. So it's like,
sounds about right then.
Yeah, but I feel like that's killer though, because then it's just like if you're at the gym for an hour, it's just like, what are you supposed to drink? You know?
Get on their level. That's what you do.
yeah, that's what you do.
You
man.
sweat it all out. You just drink it off before and then go.
You drink it right off your arm, buddy.
Just put it right back into your system. The biggest difference I saw was that it's very much like in the States. It is very much a selfish culture. It's about me. What can I do? How can I make opportunities for me? Versus in Japan, where it is very much about being overly aware about being troublesome to those around you. Like you do not want to inconvenience those around you. It's very much about other people, which again, there are pros and cons to both. But things like staying quiet on the train, I like that rule. As someone who took public transit all throughout college, like, man, that would have been nice in the States, especially when you're on like 3 hours of sleep. You're like, please, I'm trying to nap here. Could you just bring the level down?
I'm gonna let you know, Banks has kicked off that train immediately.
Well, why you say that?
We know
Yes, we do.
You ain't sit next to Banks and he ain't gonna not talk to you. It's just not happening.
Hey, look, man, I love to talk and I love having good conversations. That's just what it's all about. So, Hannah, I want to ask you, like, what was it like getting your first voice acting gig? Like, walk us through that experience.
I have to try and think of exactly what is technically the first one that I got. I think the first one was actually a podcast called the Potchkie's Audio Chronicles. And it was through some friends, but it was awesome. I mean, how could you not? It was that first validation of like, I can do this. I'm doing this thing, and look, here's the thing. I did the thing. So it was really good. But wow, have I grown from that experience? Like me going now, I'm like, yeah, you did the thing. But it was fantastic. It was, I was with a lot of really good people who gave me space to learn. And it did nothing but kind of help that trajectory of where I want it to be. So, I mean, was it the thing that'll make me blow up with fame or that? Absolutely not. And that's okay. But was it exactly what I needed at that time? Absolutely. And those people over at Potchkie's Audio Chronicles are fantastic to this day. I would not recommend more wholesome people who are just a great support system. Even to this day, I'm not with the podcast anymore. But that group of people are just, they're wonderful, incredible individuals.
They're doing the thing.
Now, Hannah,
they are.
I wanted to follow up on that. It kind of goes with the first question. Do you have any celebrations, anything you like to do when you book something? Is there something you do to celebrate? I mean,
kind of. I don't know if I have a particular celebration routine.
You don't do the gritty?
However, I do know that every time that like something spectacular happens where I open up an email and I'm like, oh my God. If I am at the house, I immediately get up, I run out the door, and I go to my roommate's door and I go, Jordan! I'm like, and he goes, what's wrong? He said, and then it's like charades for a little while until I can tell him all that I can, because half the time I can't even tell him what exactly it is. So we play the charades game of me going like, this thing, I got this thing, but it's exciting, but I can't tell you, but I'm trying to tell you. And that is probably the most consistent thing, is usually the frantic jump up the leap of not knowing what to do with all of this excitement and adrenaline and having to tell somebody, but knowing I can't say everything. And just a lovely wild game of charades.
Hell yeah.
Hey, you got to respect those NDAs, man.
Oh, absolutely.
They will come and snatch you right on up out of
I ain't breaking none of that. No.
Watch that neuralizer.
I can see it in the reflection.
But Trav, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it looks a lot like the brain gun waves, when they would like shoot it and have like they kind of look like ring lights, they come and get you.
Hell yeah. So.
But I kind of want to go back a little bit because we really didn't even like touch on how you even got to that point of deciding I don't want to be the flight attendant no more. I really want to follow this passion, and to even getting into the space where you now being hired by Crunchyroll and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So did you go and take lessons from certain people, classes? Did you go to school? Like what was able to put you in that space?
I mean, thankfully I had a lot, like I said, I had been acting since I was very little. So I did have a very good foundation. But yes, it was a lot of workshops, a lot of coaching. I mean, I did both voice acting and being a flight attendant simultaneously for a while before COVID, which actually really lended itself because there weren't as many remote classes for workshops for voiceover. And I was living in Minneapolis at the time, and it's a great space for commercial work, but there's not really animation, those kinds of things in that area. It's very stage, theater, and commercial work. And so I actually since I was now making quote unquote adult money, was flying all over the United States to take these workshops. There was a 13-week period or more, I don't remember, where I would fly down to LA every Sunday for a class with Rick Zeef. Fantastic coach individual. There are still things that he taught me that to this day, today during my session, I still used. And I would wake up early in the morning. I would take the first flight from Minneapolis down to LA. And then I'd take an Uber down to West Hollywood to where I would take the class. And then when I was done, I would take another Uber, or someone from the class would take me to the airport. And then I would take the red eye, which just means you fly through the night, back home to make it back to Minneapolis in the same day. And I just did that for like 13 weeks because I could. And, you know, I flew down to Dallas a couple of times. I took a class from Richard Horvitz. I took a class with Sonny Strait, which is funny because I now live very close to where his studio used to be. So I drive by it every day to work. I'm like, oh, in the studio. But yes, a lot of it from the very beginning was I knew that I had to put a lot of work into this because it was something that, yes, the core of it is acting, right? It's voice acting. It's a lowercase v and a capital A. Like, it is very much centered around acting. However, it is through an interface or a different kind of medium to then project that acting through. And that I knew I needed training on. I mean, I came from a competitive ballroom dance background, which is a whole other story. But it's something where I learned, if you want to get good at something, you go and get coaching. You go and learn, and you go until, you know, you are getting to a place where you are. But even then, even when you feel like you're doing the thing, you never stop learning, right? So even to this day, I am continually looking for workshops or one-on-one coachings and things like that. But yeah, for the first like 2 years, 2.5, probably closer to 3, I was just taking classes. I was doing this. I was producing demos. I got my commercial demo. I put that out there, ended up getting my commercial agent within a week after the demo. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, wow, that's great. And I'm still with Wayman Voice to this day. It was actually a commercial session that I had earlier today that I booked through them. And, you know, just kept climbing from there. It still never stops. I'm still climbing. There's still things that I will look back, because I like to save my auditions of what I do. And I'll look back at auditions from 6 months ago, or my original auditions that I sent into Crunchyroll. And I'll look at them today and be like, ooh, we could do better now. Like, it's always a revolving door. The moment you stop learning, or you think you know it all, that's when you stop growing. And like, to me, the more you know you don't know.
Exactly. So I want to ask you this before I ask the follow-up question. So I'm a professional wrestler, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, one of the things that I always tell myself is that, you know, it's always good to be nervous before you go out to the ring. And I feel like when you're not nervous, you're going to mess up. You know what I'm saying? And it's like every time I go out there to that ring, I'm always nervous, and I always go out there and I kill it and I don't mess up, you know. And I want to ask, is it like that with, you know, doing voiceover work as well? Like, are there times where before you start recording, like, are you nervous, or do you go into the booth and you're just like, let's do this, I'm all gung-ho?
A little bit of both. I am always nervous about it because, you know, there's always that part of this says, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to mess this up. But then there's that other part of you that goes, okay, but you're not going to. You were chosen for this for a reason, and these people that you're about to be with want you to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that kind of helps. And once, it's always the nervousness right before the session, right? Yep. So it's the nervousness of like working with a director I didn't know, or even today I'm like, ooh, I hope all my tech stuff works out, and then like everything's connected the way it needs to be. And there's always that little bit of nervousness, but once we get started, it's out the door. Like, it is, it's one of those reassuring moments of like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is exactly why I pursued this. This is like my zone, my space. This is my play area, my sandbox for however much time I have in that booth.
Okay. All right. So now the next question I want to ask you is funny because you had mentioned ballroom dancing, and I wanted to ask, like, how did you get into doing that?
Yeah. So it was actually one of my best friends from high school. I'm a year older than he is, so I was doing my first year of college, and for his graduation party from high school, he had his older brother teach a ballroom dance class, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so much fun! This is so much fun!" And I'm a very competitive person. Period, hands down. I don't care what it is that I'm doing. I'm very competitive.
Hell
I turn
yeah.
into a completely different beast when it is game mode, right? Game phase. And I was like, all right, well, I know I'm going to a new school this new semester. I'm going to look for ballroom dancing because this was so much fun. I would love to do this. Nothing. There was nothing at my school. Nothing. Not a single thing for ballroom. And I was like, that's not cool. And then it was that year that I realized that I was going to switch majors, which meant that I was transferring schools because they did not have Japanese at the school I was at. And so I'd be lying to say that part of the reason why I went with the University of Minnesota wasn't because that's also where my best friend was, where there was competitive ballroom dancing. So it all started from just a very simple lesson, and then I competed for 5 years, got to pretty much a professional level. I was an instructor for a while, and it was so much fun. It taught me a lot about life, mostly because our ballroom dance coach was also a hockey coach. Who then taught us. So like it was a lot of like we would have lessons and we're like, okay, how do we do? He's like, that was awful, do it again but suck less. So I learned a lot how to critique myself without being too harsh and how to do it very efficiently. And I think that actually lended itself really well to voiceover, because people are like, when you hear a lot of voiceover people start off, they're like, ooh, I don't like the sound of my voice. Ooh, I just can't get over the fact that I don't like the sound of my own voice. And I was like, oh, sweetie, you should try filming yourself and having to critique yourself for dance. It's a lot worse. But I learned a lot about life and how I learn and how to critique and how to grow from those experiences, how to ask good questions. And all of that lended itself to my learning, which I feel like kind of made a multiplier whenever I was in classes, because I felt like I knew exactly my personal strategy to get the most out of what I was doing.
Nice.
Now, I had a follow-up on the competitive ballroom dancing. Now, we don't know anything about this. So how exactly?
I'm not even sure I know what that is.
How does this work? Do they have you guys go through the same? Is it kind of like a was it musical chairs kind of thing? Like
no. Okay, so
go ahead.
Are any of you familiar with Dancing with the Stars?
Oh
yes,
yeah, of course.
Okay.
I hate to make this comparison because it's similar, but it's not. The Dancing with the Stars, those dances they do are the dances we do competitively. So pretty much what you're doing is that you have different categories of your dances. You have, I won't get into all the politics, but you have the style of dances where you're doing like waltz and tango and those kinds of more quote unquote elegant dances. And then you have those that are more rhythm or Latin based dances that is not so much like graceful, but more like make a quick like strike in a pose, and a lot of hip movement, a lot of tassels. That was my favorite.
Thanks to the man of tassels.
Tasselmania, running wild.
It was great. It's great. But it was these specific dances that you would be led onto the floor, and a lot of what people don't know with ballroom dancing in particular is that it's a very lead follow kind of dance. So the lead can initiate a move, and the follow is supposed to follow that. So it's almost like learning a language without words.
Yeah.
It's a connection that you can kind of feel, that you just know what's about to happen. And so you just compete these specific styles and these specific dances, and that like the more higher up on the hierarchy of these, the levels of dancing in there, the more dances you have and the more the judges, will check whether or not they want you to go to finals or this and that. And, you kind of weed through all of them till you get to the top 8, and then they place you from there. So those who say ballroom dancing is not a sport have never done it in their life. Holy cow. I was in the best shape of my life when I was dancing ballroom.
It sounds very much like figure skating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were out there moving.
I'm moving.
Yeah, you moving. So anybody who's telling you that's not a sport, they don't know much.
I mean, for those who want to really stalk and know, if you stalk my Facebook, if you go down far enough, there are videos from when I was in college and when we did it. So this is your feel free to Facebook and socially stalk me on social media. That's what they're there for. Let's be honest. Doesn't mean I will interact with you, but feel free to look. Go right ahead.
I'm gonna do even better. When I post this video on YouTube, I'm gonna have the video of you ballroom dancing while you're talking about ballroom dancing.
Perfect.
So that way people can be
you
like,
have
"Oh, wow.
my permission."
Thank you,
Thank you.
There's
And
one that's particular. My partner and I really like to do with the mambo, is what it's called. And there's a specific video and picture of what we called the bongos, where he would turn around and then he gets into like a squatting position almost, and I lie down, back down on his knees, and then he'd do like a bongo motion as I shimmy there, and it was the best. And the crowd is always like, "Woo!"
That sounds dope. I would watch that video now.
Combo breaker.
Like I said, you're gonna have to go digging because that was like 20.
Oh, trust me, I dig.
15, 2016, something like that.
I'm glad you asked that question though, because this whole time
guys, I had to.
I'm thinking ballroom dancing was like you
What
just
am I-
said, a kind of dancing.
Mm.
So I'm literally picturing like Beauty and the Beast. Like,
That's what I was thinking too.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what they're doing is kind of a waltz. It's more of a Viennese waltz, but yes.
Hey,
Well, and that's
when are we
waltz
gonna get?
with Z.
When are we gonna get to ask these questions again? You know,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
While
I mean,
we
like,
interview
That is
people.
true.
that's why I love interviewing people, because it's like you find out like so many cool things that they do, or things that you might not had even known existed, like competitive ballroom dancing, which is something like I've heard of ballroom dancing before, but I didn't know that like they had competitions for it. So I think that's really awesome, and that was, a nice breakdown of what it was. So I really appreciate that. So I want to ask you now, getting back to the voiceover stuff, like what is one of your favorite projects that you worked on so far?
Ooh, that's a good question, because really any time that I get to be in front of a microphone is the best day ever. So really the next character, I'm like, ooh, let's go. One of my favorites. I probably would have to go with my first like bigger recurring character, only because that has like a nice soft spot in my heart, which is Aoi Inuyama from Laid Back Camp. Shout out to Jade Saxton for even casting me, kind of giving me that opportunity. But she seems all super cute and like knowledgeable and trustworthy, and the more that you get through the series, she's like, I lie a lot. Just kidding. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. But really anything that is a challenge, it would probably be my favorite. But really it's just whatever's next, because anytime I'm in front of that microphone, it's my favorite.
Okay, well, to piggyback off of that, what would you say was one of your toughest challenges when it came to doing a role?
Probably the first time that I had to do a young boy voice for more than like 15 minutes. I got cast as Kirinoha in Natsume in the Book of Friends, and it was just a little boy the entire time, and it was like a 5-hour session, which so much fun. But I was like, oh my god, I have not done that for that long. Oh, is that nerves again of like, oh no, what if I can't do this? And I was like, no, we got this. And it was such a rewarding experience to then like be able to do that and be like, no, we got this, we can do this. And we did. And like, I have so many people who watch that episode and go, wait, that was you? And I was like, yeah, it was. So I love my little sad boy, Kirinoha. But yeah, I think that was one of the first building blocks. And I know that there's going to be more and more of those. One that wasn't really a part, but really it was an audition more than anything. It was an audition that there are certain character types that I go, ooh, I can't do that. And I'm really working on this year to at least try. And it's okay if you can't do something. We can't always do everything, and it can't always be in our wheelhouse. Yeah. But it was a very strong, very powerful kind of character. And I did the audition and I had a lot of fun, and then I got a little extra coaching on it. And by the end, I was like, I don't care if I get this part. I feel like I personally leveled up because it was a challenge. I feel like I did it. I did the thing. And like, and that's it. That's all I can really ask for, is that in that moment, in that audition, at that moment, I get to play that part. It's not me hoping to play that part. I get to play that part, even if it's just for that audition slide.
Yeah.
And I really felt like I leveled up there personally. And even though I didn't get the part, like still to this day, I'm like, that was so good. Like I felt so proud of myself. And, you know, it makes me really want to push even further and really try and really aim for that. Make that as a, you know, character goal list for the next year, and really kind of push myself in there to do things that I tried to tell myself I couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome, man. I mean, because even though, like you said, you didn't get the part, it's one of those things that it's like you can walk away from and be like, I learned from it. I gained experience. And then I love that you said the word, you leveled up. So I always think that, you know, things that we do in life, if they don't go our way, it's instead of looking at the bad, look at the good, that look at the things that you can take away from that situation, you know, and then how you can use it for something else. So yeah, that's cool. That's good to hear.
Like winning's great, but how great is failing and learning from that experience?
Exactly.
Just putting that out there, you know, like
losing and winning. That's
exactly. I mean, I may fall down, but now I've learned to get back up, and I've learned something new. I now know to duck when that branch comes my way.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
But also, we've talked about it on this podcast before. There's little bit of an oversaturation in that anime market, anyways, because it's so popular. So. I'm constantly discovering like animes that came out a year, 2 years, or 3 years ago that I just slipped through the cracks. And when I watched a clip from the show of your character, I immediately told Banks, I was like, yo, I'm about to put Zoe onto this show because Zoe's going to love this show just from watching that clip, because it's just like a show I know that she would love. And sometimes those animes just kind of take a little bit to catch on.
That's true.
Well, I didn't even know of Laid Back Camp until I was cast, and then I watched and said, how did I not know about this show?
Right. Yeah.
Like this is that niche slice of life when I really just want something chill to watch. Like I always tell people, for those of you listening or watching who have not watched Laid Back Camp, if you like lo-fi, if you think of an anime but lo-fi, that's Laid Back Camp. Like very chill, but you know, eat before you watch the show, because they make a lot of really delicious looking food as well. And get it with the full stomach, otherwise you're going to be spending money on DoorDash that you don't want to do.
Anytime you're watching slice of life anime, the food is always like
always.
What anime was it that I just finished? My Love Story. And seeing all the sweets up there, and I was just like, man, now I want to
Campfire Cooking in Another World. My partner and I finished watching that, and I was like, oh my god, this looks so good.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to be on a diet, man. I'll wait till the weekend to get something, but it can be hard. It can be hard sometimes. But to piggyback off of what Trav was saying too, like when we had interviewed Lisette Monique Diaz, whose interview y'all can check out, y'all can watch it up here on YouTube. Where
do it, because she's a wonderful human being, super talented. I recommend.
Facts. And when me and her, when we finally meet, we're gonna play Diddy Kong Racing, and I'm gonna destroy her in it. But anyway, when she came up here and she was talking about the Great Jahi, like Trav was saying, like there's so many animes out there that you don't know about, and they just slip through the cracks, because like most of the anime that gets pushed are the bigger animes. But when I had checked out the Great Jahi, I was like, man, this is funny. Like, how did I not know about this series? So it's like, that's why I love interviewing you guys too, because it's like when there's stuff that I don't know about, I always go and watch it, and like I'll tell D or Trav, like, hey man, y'all should check this out. Like, it's funny, you know. So yeah.
The comedy hits real nice in that. The writing in it, both in Japanese and English. So even if you don't want to watch the dub, I get it. It's okay. But either dub or sub, the comedy little bits just hit so good. Like you're sort of like, wow, this is cute. And then you were like busting a gut because you're laughing so hard. So good.
Busting a gut.
There's so much. Go ahead, Trav.
No, I was going to say, and I was one of those sub dudes, you know what I mean? That was like, I ain't watching no dubs, they garbage or whatever. And it's like, I can't tell you the last anime I prefer to watch a sub than the dub. It's like the dub games changed from when I was a kid. Like
Yes.
when we was coming up, dubs weren't good for real. Like
that's not necessarily true.
Oh,
I
for the
mean-
most
Oh, come
part, they
on,
were,
you
which is
have to
why a lot
admit
of them got redubbed.
Yeah, some
later
of
on
some
down
of
the
them
road.
weren't that great,
A
but
lot of them weren't good. Let's admit it. However,
that's- I'm-
enduring and like I'd still watch them for the enduring factor, but there wasn't a lot of care put into them because there wasn't a lot of money. There was a
yeah,
lot of people just trying to get it into the States versus what it is today, where it is just exploded.
yeah.
And even though it still doesn't pay super great, like there's still more of a market for it than when it first released, with like Dragon Ball and One Piece when it was on 4Kids or whatever it was. Like
I think the problem with the old, and I'm even talking about older dubs, like 90s dubbing, but
oh yeah.
I think the problem with those is none of those people are believable people. They're all character type stuff.
I get what you're saying.
They're just so over the top. Versus now, it's like, oh, I can relate to these people.
They have real genres.
I'm not gonna relate to anybody. I love Ultimate Muscle, but it's like I'm not relating to anybody in Ultimate Muscle. They're so over the top characters.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
They're not relatable versus the anime now, where it's like, oh, this is like they're actually acting in these things, and not just trying to be some over the top weird thing.
Well, it's also too, like a lot of the older voice actors, even some that we've interviewed, it's like they really didn't do like theater or anything. Like they were on the radio, and then they just walked into the studio and did voiceover stuff. Whereas, a lot of people that are in voice acting now, it's just like they did theater work. And it's like you said, like you're actually acting, and it feels legit when the person is talking. It doesn't come off like they're just reading off a sheet of paper,
Also, I think a lot of theater kids are really comfortable in their own skin, and you can see
or at least
that come
pretend.
through. Well, yeah, but you can see it when you come through in these interviews, like just how
they're kind of better prepped for it.
right.
If you think about it, I feel like if you can get on a stage in any capacity and do it in front of a crowd, then it's way more comfortable in a booth with maybe a few people watching you.
Because you've already lived through embarrassing yourself or being laughed at,
You're prepped.
and that's going to happen in school when you're in
Well,
theater.
I guess
I promise you.
If you're on the radio too, though, if you come from that line, then I guess you're kind of putting yourself out there too, because not everybody can do radio.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just to each their own.
That's true.
Thanks. What you got?
So I just asked the last question. I could pass the ball to either you or Trav if y'all have another. Okay, go ahead.
Of course. Now we touched on something way back at the beginning of this. You brought up an old anime called Pokemon. Who are your top three?
Pokemon or trainers?
Pokemon. Ooh,
Okay,
trainers.
I have to ask.
Hey, I'll take both.
I don't keep up with Pokemon as of now.
Well, I mean,
I'm an OG kind of Pokemon
same,
individual.
The first
Like-
150. Yeah, who you got?
Yeah. So like Pichu, not Pikachu. Although Pikachu is adorable and I love them. Pichu, I love Pichu. They are adorable. And like I love playing them in like Super Smash when nobody expects this little Pichu to kick butt, and you're like, you just watch. So Pichu is definitely up there for me. I also liked Alakazam was another good one. That was just a good one to have on, red or yellow.
Yep.
It was some prime fighting there. And then I'm always a fire Pokemon starter.
Same.
Always have, always will be. Like electric and fire, those are my go-to. And then here and there I'll have a water.
Okay.
So I always love my Charizard. Like
Same.
OG man, like give me a Charizard or Eevee. I love Eevee, but that's just like mostly like a cute factor. Like if I were to have a pet, it would be an Eevee. Like give me the Eevee.
All right, so I want to piggyback and ask you, what evolution would you choose for your Eevee to evolve?
Jolteon or Umbreon.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Cool.
I was always a Vaporeon and Glaceon type of guy. Trav, what about you?
Oh, Espeon all day.
All right, D.
I'll save my answer. It sounds like I might be Pokemon battling one of y'all one day. And Keep my cars close to the chest, you know?
Which one was the fairy one?
I can't think of that one's name. That's one of the new ones.
Starts with an S. Sylveon.
Yeah, Sylveon. Yeah, that's
I was like,
Flareon's cool. I mean,
which they got rid of fairy types. So fairy
Oh,
types.
for
did they really?
They did? Why?
Well, I mean, card game wise.
Oh, okay.
Did they really?
I was
try?
like,
Gotcha.
I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
before they
just
brought
weird.
in Sword and Shield, they got rid of fairies.
I wonder why they did that. But okay.
Probably because of Michael. I mean,
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, so okay. Who's up next? Trav, you got anything, or you want me to keep going?
I'm ready for these special D questions.
all right, well, I got one more question, and then
Okay.
we can pass the ball to D.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So,
oh man, gotta brace myself.
I want to ask you, when you're not voice acting, like, what are some of your hobbies that you enjoy doing?
Ooh, I love just being a professional goofball. Doesn't matter where I am,
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
doing. I am making a scene and a half. I really I'm an extrovert. I just really like to hang out with people, and especially after the pandemic, like I just really like to be with people. I love board games. I love volleyball. Like I said, I'm very competitive. So if I play any game, it's like game on. I love to dance. I don't get to do it as much as I used to. But I still love to do it when I can. And I have fallen down the Genshin rabbit hole. So I've been playing a lot of Genshin as of late.
Hey, well, look, I'm just going to let you know right now, since you just mentioned Genshin, every time we've had a voice actor up here, like after they've been on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, they are announced that they're in Genshin Impact. So,
well, I will take that. I'm gonna do this. Not that it's
true.
on my bucket
It's
list or
true.
anything
It's
for
true.
the next
We're
couple
not
of years,
joking.
but like I'll receive that.
It's happened like 4 or 5 times now.
the Hoyo verse, they're listening to us. They're like, yeah, we gotta. We're watching these guys. They got cameras in the room and everything, man.
Well, you touched on one of my favorite recent games. I've been playing since it dropped. Who would you say is your favorite character right now?
In Genshin?
Favorite two? Give me 2. They got like 60
Oh no,
characters.
it's like you gotta go with
Like
teams though, right? Like I'm
Of
trying
course.
to put the boy band together.
Oh yeah.
But
my favorite character is probably Chung Yi. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ice character.
oh yeah.
I think I'm not
The great
butchering.
sword wielder.
Yes. That's the guy.
Yeah, I got you.
Him and Barbara. That's my combo.
Let's go.
Alright.
Yeah, freeze everybody.
For sure.
So
Who you got?
play style wise,
Okay.
just being broken in OP, I pulled Wanderer.
Okay. Wow.
Wow,
What?
utility wise and everything, he is fantastic. His crit rate is amazing, and again, he's Animo, so you can just swirl everything.
Yep.
And the amount of numbers you see, you go, yes,
Yep.
yes.
Crusty.
But I also, I don't know. I like to.
You got to keep a
switch
couple
through
of
it.
them. Yeah, you
I
have to
do.
keep
Like
them.
I'm a Kuching main, so
Okay.
that
A
electro
what main?
nonsense. A Kuching.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Kuching,
Okay.
mind you, this is a
Say that
PG-13
Yeah,
podcast.
Trav.
Take it easy.
It's like Travis is like a what?
Come on, Trav.
And with that, Alhaitham, who just released, plays very similarly to Kuching.
Mhm.
But like my main team is usually Wanderer, Kuching, Kamisato Ayato, and Alhaitham. So
Not bad.
I'm trying to pull for either Nikita or Nilu, but
Yep.
I'm not a whale and I don't have money to pull both of them, and I have to win my 50-50. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I usually wait until it's something very intriguing before I use all my cash. And it's
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, I wish I could, but my
Yeah, I
bank
just-
account says
Oh no, like in game. Yeah,
so I gotta wait on
Yeah,
that.
I'll wait too.
But man, if I could have either of them,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
super
ooh,
fun
that'd be a
game.
game changer. But no, it's a lot of fun. I'm that person who's like in any, especially like open world kind of RPG games. I'm the one who's like, ooh, a mushroom, ooh, a flower. Ooh,
It
this.
flew under
And
the
so-
radar for a little bit, and I couldn't understand why there wasn't more people playing it when it started. Because it's visually, the music's
stunning.
great.
Yeah.
like,
Stunning.
it's a fun game. So
So I started it as a research project because
Oh wow.
Everyone wants to be in Genshin, myself included. I think it'd be super fun. And I was like, if an audition comes my way, I need to know more about the world, what these characters sound like,
and keep adding to the world too. It just keeps building.
Right. So I started playing as a research thing, and then I loved the game, so I haven't stopped playing it.
Congratulations. Welcome to the team, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I have one more question, D, then I'll pass it to you.
Okay.
What is like, do you watch anime? Because you know how like some voice actors, they're like, yeah, I do voiceover work, but I don't really watch anime because it's like I like to
probably like a job situation.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you watch anime when you're not recording?
It's give or take. There are some months where I will go and not really watch anything, and then there are months where that's all I do. I'm in one of those moments right now where I am watching quite a bit of anime, actually.
Okay. All right.
And half of it is really fun because I'm like, oh my god, my friend is in this anime, I have to watch it. So that's mostly what it is now, where it's like, oh my god, my friend's in this, I have to watch it.
You
like
super
them. Excited for them and watch me like, oh, they're doing so good. And so I am I usually have like one, maybe two series that is one that I particularly pick out that I will just kind of watch. So like this last time it was Campfire Cooking in Another World. Really good. It was really pleasantly surprising. I really liked it. Sui will forever live in my heart. Sui is like my familiar. Me and Sui, just a little slime ball. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I do watch anime. I always have my diehards. My partner had not finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood yet, so we just recently watched that with him, and it was so cool to like experience it with him, experiencing it for the first time. As like me and my roommate are like, we're getting to that part, and we're just watching his face as he's experiencing it. It was really, really cool.
And I know what part you're talking about when they show Nina Tucker.
There are several parts
when they show Nina Tucker.
I do watch anime. I have a lot of fun watching anime. I mean, it's one of those things where yes, it can be where it's your job, so you don't want to fill your life more with it. But I started as a fan, and so I still find a lot of fun in it. Especially now that I can, pull people out, be like, I know that person. Hey, that's what I worked with that person. That's really cool. And there's also this sense of, when others succeed and others win, it just fills my heart with happiness. And
exactly.
I just want to hype them up more because when they're happy, I'm happy. And so I feel like now kind of watching some anime and I get to celebrate my friends makes the anime even more enjoyable. But long story short, yes, I do still watch anime.
Okay. All right, cool. Because like this is what leads to my question. What anime that is out currently that you would love to lend your voice to?
A hard time saying this because I don't want to just say that and have directors go, yeah, you said this. You wanted to. And I'm like, no, it's for fun. I mean, I guess the longer standing ones are always fun to like, bring that full circle of like, oh my gosh, I watched this years ago. So something like My Hero Academia would be really fun, or a Demon Slayer would be really fun.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Right. I actually wasn't a huge JoJo's person. So, I mean, I've watched the first 2 seasons and I've had my friends who are like, Hannah! And I'm like, I'm sorry, I only have so much time in the day.
You made it further than me and D. Me and me good on
that. Yeah.
I hear it gets better after that. Like, those are the harder ones to watch and then it gets good.
If there's a disclaimer of it gets better, I'm good.
I enjoyed the first and the second part, but I know it's not for everybody though. It's not. It's
if you read the first 3 books, I promise
it's like I love the stands, but like honestly, JoJo it becomes like Pokemon. Like once it gets to part 3, it's just like, can you defeat my stand? I stand. Yeah. So yeah. Right.
So I mean, I guess like there are like longer standing series that would be fun. But I think for me it's more of like a certain character I would like to play. Yeah. So like I have my temporary bucket list of characters or character types that I'd like to play. So like right now I've got like crazy ass individual. Sorry, I guess that was my one. Someone like Toga from My Hero, or like just someone who is just crazy from the inside out, would be so much fun. And the other one is just a sassy little girl like Anya. Okay. I want to do that. So like really more than anything, it's like character types that I'd really like to play. But you know, I'll take anything and everything that comes my way when it comes to any sort of series. So
awesome.
I had the opportunity to be in One Piece. I got to be this grandma. It was awesome. So like I already got to be a part of a series that I started watching, like one of my first animes. So like I'm good. I'll mark that off my list. I'm as happy as a peach over here.
I said, look, and then look,
king of the ice fruit over here.
So. And then look, now the next thing you know, you're gonna be in Boruto. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's more of a Bang Zoom. That's more of an LA thing, and I don't have an animation agent yet, but we're working on it.
All right. So we're here at the end of the interview, and now this is what D has been waiting for. He just looked to the left. And like on my screen, he just looked over and he's looking at you right now on my screen. But D, go ahead and take it away with your final question.
Okay, so first question: favorite 80s or 90s movie, or both if you have one of each?
It would have to be I have two. Sure. And they were my dad's favorites as well. Lady Hawk. And it's not a very well-known one, as Matthew Broderick and Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe. There's a lot of really good people, a lot of really fun synth in it. Highly recommend. Lady Hawk and Princess Bride.
Okay, all right.
Classic.
All right, that second one. A lot of people know that one.
I do not think that word means what you think it means.
Wait a minute, huh? Wait a minute.
Which word?
It might be from the movie, maybe.
Yeah, it's from the movie.
It is. It's a line.
Yeah.
It's a line from the movie.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Of course you did, Max.
Hey, your boy was in Lady in the Hawk too. Alfred Molina. He was in it too. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. But yeah,
the music, there's so much synth and it's fantastic. So good. And like baby Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, I'm looking at 1985.
Baby Matt.
Okay. Second question. Growing up, was there anything that spooked you, scared you, and stayed with you? Whether it was a creepy, what was it?
Clowns. I don't do clowns. I hate them. I cannot do them. And it's not like spooky, scary clowns. Like clowns that are made to be scary don't bother me as much. It's like the classic clown that I get like shivered. I go, I can't.
Yeah. I always thought they were weird whenever we go to like the circus and stuff. They are very creepy.
I don't think so. I went to the circus. They look fine to me, but when they show like true crime documentaries and somebody was a clown, I'm like, dude, who invited that thing to the birthday party and let them in the house? Like,
they're just meant to be funny, and they're not funny. They're not funny. They're creepy. No offense to those people who are professionally clowns. It's not my thing. It is irrational. I cannot explain it, but I don't do clowns.
Another disclaimer. I like it.
Other than that, it's like, turning off the lights before you go upstairs and hoping that the boogeyman don't get you.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty weird too. It's I wouldn't say scary, but it's a little eerie depending on whose house and where they live. Like when you have to turn the lights off and then go upstairs.
And you're like booking it. You're like,
well, back in the day.
Do you remember a couple of years ago when those clowns were killing people?
Yeah, it was not okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were killing people. I thought it was just pranks.
Nah, bro.
Or Joker from Batman. That's fine. Joker from Batman, totally okay. I actually love Joker from Batman. One of my favorite villains.
What if right now we just brought in Insane Clown Posse to the Zoom call? Like, what happened?
When it says recording in process and it gives you the option to leave the meeting, I would be gone. I'd be like, thanks, no thanks, bye.
He said,
I ain't clowning around. Bye.
Insane Clown Posse. Oh my god.
Thanks. That is she passed the test, man.
Yeah, she passed the test.
Hey, get us out of here, Captain.
Hey, she made it to the end of the interview. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us up here. It was fun talking to you.
Hell yeah, kid,
thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. I was honored. I still, consider myself a bit of a baby voice actor, making my way through through this
Making my
lovely
way
world.
downtown.
Making my way downtown.
Yeah.
But you know, I appreciate the time. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. Kind of just felt like I was chilling with people, which, like I said, is one of my favorite things to do.
That's
So
what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do, and we hear that a
That's what
lot
we
from
do.
Hey,
people.
just
They
like
say
the
that-
water, we keep it chilly.
no, we do
that-
not. We
what
keep
was
it
it,
lukewarm
cold
because
fruit?
it is healthier for you.
Yeah, the loop fruit.
hey, it's
All
like
it
your
does
boy,
is make water lukewarm.
it's like your boy Bobby Boucher said. That's some high quality H2O.
Hey,
And
and Bobby Boucher, he had that cold water.
he had that cold water.
Yeah, all right,
Hey,
guys, okay.
hey, think about it. He got knocked out on that field. If it weren't for that cold water, if it was room temperature water, he wouldn't have
It
woke
wouldn't
up.
have happened, but
It
my
would-
man did the kip up.
Yeah,
But see, they were trying to wake him up. In which case, yeah, use cold water. If
Yeah,
I am trying to
exactly.
hydrate, as we stated previously,
Oh, he
I am drinking lukewarm water.
was hydrated. I promise you that.
See, and in which case you don't need lukewarm water. You would need cold.
oh man.
Am I wrong?
No, you're
No
right.
further questions, Your Honor.
I'm a boss.
That's not what Mama
Mic
says.
drop.
The defense
I'll always
press.
remember. We were over at Trav's house about to do an interview, and Trav, he was like, "Hey, do you guys want some water?" And I was like, "Yeah." And what did you bring upstairs, Trav? Because it was something that I had never had before.
Fiji water.
Yeah, Fiji water. I had never had Fiji
Trav
water.
had a
before.
top shelf.
Yeah,
I was
and
about
like,
to say that's some fancy stuff.
and look,
yes, sir.
after-
From the
after
mountains
I
of
drank
Japan,
it,
right
I
there.
felt like I was Bobby Boucher. I was shaking. I was like, "Woo!"
You getting that bougie water?
And I was like, "Dang."
Bougie.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you again, Hannah, for joining us. Before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Yes, so you can find me pretty much on every social platform except for TikTok because I know I'm going to get addicted, so I stay off. But you can find me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Hannah Alyea. Last name spelled Alyea. It's French, a lot of vowels, not enough consonants. But you can find me anywhere if you're wanting to follow along on my like voice acting journey. I most often post on Twitter until it explodes. That's mostly where you can keep up with me, but I am trying to do better and post on all the other things too.
Hey,
Feel
I
free to
know that
follow.
feeling.
Come say hi. Give me a good, really bad pun or dad joke. I love it.
Oh man, and Trav, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
Of course, I'm on the Instagram at ZK Audio. I'm on the Twitter, TikToks, and the Letterboxd at TRAVIOSZK. D, they looking for the beanie. They got the lukewarm water.
Yeah, the Luke
Where they gonna
fruit,
find
man.
it?
As always, you can find me at rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com. And Benji,
Yes.
if they're looking for a hero, where can they find one?
You can find me, your hero Benjamin Banks, at @KingBenji_Banks on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you, everybody, for watching this interview. Make sure that you check out some more interviews that we have up here on the channel. Check out our podcast where we have brand new episodes every Tuesday. The link is down below in the description. And like I say every time, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Hero, I'm holding up for a hero to the end of the night.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.